Greetings, everyone. This is Joanna from Universal Love Light and Heavenly Radiance. Thank you so much for tuning in. And we wanted to come forward with an offering today of soul growth, soul expansion, who we are, what we exist within, and what exists within us. Once again, our eternal three explorations, expressions, and experiences of who we are always within those micro, macro concepts of the grander aspect of who we are, the microcosm, the macrocosm, and how that reflects within all that we experience within our own inner reality, within ourselves, within our community, our family, our collective, and so on, out to the universal essence of all that we are as omnipresence. And what I was inspired with this morning was divine purpose and destiny, and how so many people are awakening, and in that divine inner seeking that we at some point will always do, especially with what we've been through as a collective, being the inspirator and the ignition of many to go within and to reevaluate and reflect upon, how we were moving about life, and how may we infuse greater connection and greater intimacy within ourselves and within all the others that we are communing and co-creating with. And really, that's what it's all about. In this dynamic galaxy, this planet's experience and story was to transcend polarity and create unity in that oneness through all that we are as unifying beings of personality concepts, the human perspective to the omni perspective. And that's a constant harmonization of oneness, constant harmonization of who we are as source. The inner source within, the outer source without, ever inspiring us with codes and light, ever inspiring us with inspirations through the higher self. All that we are is a multidimensional mechanism and intelligence. The various energetic and vibrational fields and vortices that we are as the makeup of a divine human, that heavenly omnipresent being that is a multidimensional, multifaceted, beautiful mechanism and vessel of light that we are now awakening into the light body, awakening into the greater understanding of our Merkaba, the fields that we walk within, our innate, how our Akash works within these experiences of expansiveness and co-creative healing and activations for new gifts and skills. We're really becoming this beautiful, fluidic harmonization of greater love and greater light. And that is true our within all that we've come within our soul's blueprint and our soul's notions of what we wanted to experience is what our destinies and our purpose is. To be joyful in who we are, to live as joy in who we are, to fully be love in who we are. And if you ask most people, they would probably, take some time or answer quite quickly, are you joyful? Most often people will come up with very quick answers, and oftentimes, which is quite strange and odd, when you say, what does joy mean to you, do most truly feel it and honor it and live it within themselves. And that's our purpose, that's our destiny. And why there's most of the collective and all of our experiences through awakening is seeking that inner joy and that inner peace, that inner love of who we are. The enlightenment and self-actualization is to fully live as love, to fully live as blissful joy in our uniqueness, to fully live as the compassionate, loving beings that we've been meant to be. And when we do so, we become that highest light aspect. We activate all aspects. And through that harmonization of all the wounds, peeling back all the layers and densities that have separated us from that joy. That joy is that source essence. It's who we are. It's the micro macrocosm of our fluidic entanglement. How we activate it, how we intend it, how we create that attention and intention of it, it with capital IT, is our experience of human awakening, of human ascension, because it is in within all things and all beings. And it's what we're being brought to in our collective attention. Are we being in that joy and oneness of one another in all of our diversity? Are we allowing ourselves to fully fall in love with and be a joy of all that we see? And these are the reflections that so many are awakening to. That so many are going, well, what do I see and why am I feeling this way? Because that feeling mechanism is the emotional body. That emotional body holds so many of the wounds and imbalances that then creates those imbalances of the mental, the physical, and the etheric. It's all interrelated into our multidimensional healing systems. And so what emotional wounds are held within the separations that we see within our collective that keeps us from living in that pure state of oneness, of joy, of bliss? And this as a collective is what we'll be working through. How am I seeing that all sects of people, if you will, all that we are as a family, and how do we differentiate and define and judge and label? That in and of itself is defining. That in and of itself is separating and not in oneness of love. I honor you, I accept you as pure love, and each and every person on this planet is working through it. Make no mistake about that. Regardless of how enlightened one may seem or appear, there are infinite levels of oneness. There's infinite levels. There's 352 levels of dimensional angelic frequencies. So it's infinite. It's infinite for us to become those angels of light, ever spreading out our oneness, whether it be our oneness with nature, our oneness with insects, our oneness with the heavens, our oneness with what we think is beyond the heavens. There's infinite sects of our exploration and experience and expression, and it will always be that way. That's evolution. That's how we always expand. That's what the soul desires. The soul will always offer you opportunities that my team gave me last week. Thank you, Mario, for putting on our videos. There was a challenge that I was working through, and there was parts of me that were still held up in anger for many of the experiences that I was healing. And I was facing them and saying, well, why would I put myself out there to even extend myself once again to be heard? And my team was saying, because this is now your new opportunity, you've now stepped up that level, this is your new opportunity to act as the master and the hierophant that you are now moving into for 100% of who you are in this moment, as unconditional love, as unconditional nurturance, as unconditional compassion. That shows that you've truly forgiven. That shows yourself that you've truly forgiven, and you can expand your heart in that way and then enter into new dynamics and realms of play. And this is what we mean, is that there's always those infinite levels of expansive growth that the soul is capable of. We have infinite capacity to be loved. We have infinite capacity to live in compassion and forgiveness. We do. We are. And I was making my breakfast this morning. I just had this thought, and it often comes to me. It really does. And I'm moving into a greater dynamic of self-love and self-acceptance and expanding into this new self-loving experience. Now that I've been brought up to greater light, I'm finding that every time you're brought up in a level of, when you've cleared away that density, you've cleared away that wound, you've peeled off that one layer, you're then risen to a higher quotient of light, and you'll feel these influxes. You'll wake up. Just before you wake up in the morning, you'll feel the great vibratory frequencies on your chakras, your feet, in your face. The other morning I woke up and my face was just vibrating because I'm a speaker. I'm a vibrational speaker. I offer the Christ consciousness through my voice, the beautiful energies of, the Christ consciousness, the Shekinah. And that those energies are through the whole chakra systems of all that I am. I'm the expression of source. These vibrations and light codes live through me. And so all of my chakras are being upgraded and everything's vibrating. And you can feel it, that you're carrying this greater light, and they're carrying you in a higher capacity. And all of these upgrades are now showing me this new capacity that I have, because as you're stepping into these new levels, it's greater capacity to explore, experience, and express who you are as love, as compassion, to sort through this highest capacity of now what you see as the collective healer and helper and mender and light worker and light pillar, whatever it is that you've come to experience, whether it be an artist or a teacher or whatever it might be. But there will always be these incremental steps as you release the layers and the patterns through self-love and forgiveness and compassion. And it's always an exploration of all that we are, what we are within us, and all that we are without, and who we truly are as energy, omnipresent beings, using that human form for this vibrational experience. And within it, there is infinite number of experiences that I've had as I was making breakfast. Was, I wouldn't be where I am right now, and I wouldn't have this moment to appreciate who I am in this moment, without the graciousness and the beauty that is the heavens. I wouldn't have those abilities to attune to the reflection that I just did in my morning reflection, to have that expansive vastness of who I am, a source, and the whole Makaba that I sit within, and the fields that I sit within, without Source Creator loving me and nurturing me into my wholeness. And I can feel those moments of nurturance. I can feel those moments of unconditional love. And it's truly beyond any religious text that we've ever written in our society. It's beyond what we have words for, and it's meant to be. And so there is that loving communion that is that infinity, because that's us as that lotus flower that's ever blooming and blossoming. And we're each coming to new levels through which we grow and we expand and we flower out, if you will, through the love of Source, through the multidimensional care and the beauty of all that we are, through that pure intention, just to allow Source to live through us, to show us what we need to see in any moment through our healings, whether we're wanting to release obsessive, thought patterns, negative thought patterns, whatever it might be, to place it out on the table, to sort it out and say, this is what I've figured and found out about what I've been going through. This is the core wound. This is what it's been attached to and why I've done what I've done, why I've chosen what I've chosen. These are the lessons learned. I've really appreciated it. Please help me sort this out and transmute it. And so that's the process that we all walk through to move through these new placements of self-love and self-passion and self-destiny, if you will. Because as we do, we find out, wow, I'm really exploring myself in new and beautiful ways, and it becomes ever more joyful, loving, and self-appreciative, self-valuing. And that's why we get to this place of, well, are we really in joy? And if not, well, how can I get there? How can I really feel joy about who I am? How can I let go of what I'm seeing in my reality and bring it back to me and say, why did I have that judgment about what I just saw? Why did I attract what I just attracted? What's my core? What's that core issue that's going on there? And where can I say, I forgive you and I love you and I accept you whole? Because it's in that self-acceptance that we're creating that healing for that macrocosm of what we see in our reality. And what they were showing with me this morning is that the soulful connections that we have, we're reconnecting with our soul every time we move through those moments of self-seeking, of those inner reflections, and those self desire to create that peace and that joy. Am I joyful? I really want to be peaceful today. That in of itself is allowing you to seek into finding that joy. It's an intention that begins to thread out quantumly, pulling in those joys. And that's why, as you focus on negative energies, toxic energies, narcissistic energies, whatever those habits and patterns have been through your negative, through the makeup of who we've been as children and growing up through the eons and what we've come with to transcend in our imprints, then you're going to pull those things in. So wherever your intention, your attention, and your focus go is what that reality is all about you. And so that inner seeking of, I choose in this moment is the infinity. I choose in this moment to seek joy. I want to feel joy. I want to be present with joy. I want to feel the joy. I want to be this embodiment of joy. I want joy to be my destiny. I want love to be my destiny. I just want to love. Then that in of itself begins those quantum thread movements of the field that we exist within. And that's how we actually transmute. Choose what you want to transmute, set that intention, create that choice, and off you go. Create that intention, attention, and focus in those moments of self-love and self-honor and self-recognition. You're recognizing yourself as whole. You're recognizing yourself as a manifester of love. You are the manifester of Source Creator. Never underestimate your partnership with Source. And as I said earlier, I wouldn't be anywhere without the love and the nurturance of all of the celestial teams, Gaia, every feeling of consciousness that I'm able to tune into, which there's far more, because the human mind can only perceive so much until we expand out into the highest capacities. There's so much far more than we understand what's going on. And when you ask for that healing and allow yourself to receive it, expect to receive it, then it will be received. And you will find yourself moving through these huge transitions of soul pains and soul wounds far more easily, and opening up to those new now moments. Now transcends that past and letting truly everything go from the past. The more time we spend in the past, the more we keep recreating the past. That's why this now moment is so important to create new, create new, create new, create new. But those soulful recognitions of who we are and wanting to be joy, wanting that destiny to be joy. I mean, who doesn't? Who doesn't want to be at peace, within ourselves and not feel those worries that we go to bed with often, you know, and why we've suggested the daily self-care healing practices are so important, to open up to the highest universal codes, to open up to your unique light that your multidimensional bodies are fed and nourished by, because everybody is different. I'm already clearing, just saying that. You know, that's how your body is tuned in with the field. That's how your body is tuned in with your words and your intentions. Just in me saying that, I began clearing. So it's really miraculous. It really, really is. Those soulful connections of us in whatever it is that we're here to experience, because we're here really, truly, the soul's journey and destiny and purpose is to live as pure love and pure joy, as being love. That's it. But we must heal all the wounds, and we must move through those experiences that have kept us from that innate state that we've always been. You know, we're born with it. We're born as pure love. You know, we're born as, you know, joy. We've come in perfect. You know, we're still perfect even with all the wounds, but it's how we perceive ourselves. And that's what we've got to peel away and re-entrain into a higher vibrational experience. I'm just going to have a drink. My saffron. My team suggested, look at all these little bits of saffron everywhere. I see them. Little bits of saffron. They end up sticking to your teeth and your mouth and lips. My team suggested to me yesterday to get more antioxidants. So I've got a cold pressed antioxidant juice with an extra vitamins, just to help nourish and regenerate my systems that have gone through so much depletion in the last 2 years. Actually, more than that. Who am I kidding? And I'm not that much of a juice drinker. I don't. The only juices I drink are the highest vitamin pressed ones, if I can find them in smoothies, because I'm not that much of a sweet, sugary type of intake being. And so back to the soulful, to being joy, you know, being that oneness and unity. That's really what we're here. We're here to each experience our own level and a uniqueness and diversity of joy and love. Well, how do we do that? We do it through that inner seeking, that inner desire, that inner intention. I'm letting go of everything from this point forward. It's no longer, it's like you close the curtain on it. This is who I am now. This is what I want to experience, and focus all of your attention and focus on that. Just say whatever wounds need to be healed that can be let go and transmuted, please surrender and transmute. I want to start fresh right now. And each day, start fresh. Today is a new day. The past is no longer hindering me. The past will no longer call me back. And I cut onion oil cords that are holding me back now. And I transmute them with love and appreciation and honor. And as you do that, now is your new beginning. Now you create that new cycle, that new infinity that keeps cycling out your potentiation for joy and love and bliss, and to live as that. And then do your intermittent daily reflections, halfway through the day. Did I live the morning as joy? Yeah, I really noticed that I went out and I appreciated the flower. I really noticed that I was allowing myself to speak my truth. That made me really happy. I'm getting more intimate, and I'm really seeking intimate connections with others, to really feel that connection at my heart. That made me happy, just to think about it. So these tiny little beautiful soulful steps allow you to ever moment for moment thread in, because they're vibrational threads. And when you're recognizing, acknowledging, and accepting your brilliance as the creator, you become that creator reality. You're creating a reality through that vibrational outpouring of love and trust and joy and bliss of who you are. And you're acknowledging it. I've said that in all my classes throughout the years, and every client that I've ever probably connected with, it's really important, and I've written it in my books, to acknowledge your movement through your own mastery, because it allows you to empower yourself and inspire yourself as the creator. That's that true self-confidence that you end up walking. Yeah, I did that. I see how I transmuted that. I see how I was more patient in those discussions, as opposed to, just flipping off. Those are your mastery moments through which you become that hierophant and that master. You're becoming that energy and that vibration, because you're feeding it with intention, attention, and focus, and you're acknowledging it. I acknowledge how I've become that patient, loving, nurturing being. And I'm understanding, and I'm listening, and I'm valuing, and I'm celebrating everybody that comes to my path, because I'm doing it with me first. And they were offering me this morning that the oneness, the oneness and the diversity that we love within ourselves is then reflected without us. And that's why our collective has gone through what we've gone through, because we've each been through the moments and the eons that we have co-created separateness, the subjugation of minority groups. And we've often talked about what is even a minority group, because everybody is the minority group except for the top 1%. How does that work? Does that seem fair? It's just like, does that make sense? Is this a balanced society? And this is what we're seeing. Where do we hold our values? Where do we hold the requirement of celebration for everybody? Where is that fairness? Where are we drawing the line here? And those are those conversations that have to come out. They do. We can handle it. We've got the skills and the worthiness to say we are worthy of our oneness. We are worthy of our destiny and our purpose to live as joy, as one, as each person is brought up to a level of equality and fairness and loving balance. We're each given the same opportunities. We're each loved and valued the same. We're given the same, the requirements for our each individual sovereign will and our power and our creative expression to explore who we are, to express who we are and experience who we are equally. And that has never been the case in our societies. It just hasn't, regardless of how much we've said it has been in whatever, political doctrine that we've been offered. And that's okay. That's where we're moving to. We're moving to this new hypersensitive, and we say that in a way that we're seeing it now, we're feeling it now, we're sensing it now because we're more awake. That's okay. That's where we're meant to be. We're so lucky. That's what I want to say. We're so lucky to be exactly where we are, experiencing what we are. We're so lucky, because we get to be these change makers. We get to be the ones that say, now this is where we go. How are we going to get there? And we call in those codes, we call in those inspirations, we open up the pineal and the pillar of light, and we receive the highest heavenly guidance so that each of us moves in our highest authentic manner that is genuine to the threading of all light programs. It's not from the ego to say, well, my way is better than your way. This is how it must be done, so everybody follows suit. That's just moving in same controlled systems. It's through that equality and diversity that each person is felt and needed and required, and receiving that level of joy and love and oneness. That's our destiny. Our purpose is to live in joy and love and oneness. And through doing so, we automatically unify and unite. And so that inner and outer, what we were talking about earlier, is that inner macro, micro experience. And if we think of ourselves as the individual cell that source is, that macro experience all throughout the omnipresent, then we are that individual cell that is being healed and renewed so that it can be brought back into the whole system of the source creator. For we understand that when there is illness within our body and that cell is ill or diseased, then we can have that mastery to heal that cell and make it new so that all other cells around it become also new and regenerated. Because if that cell is weakened and diseased, it will affect and infect the other cells around it, and that's when it becomes a mass or a tumor, and becomes that diseased organ, if you will. So we can allow ourselves to be that micro macro experience, and as each and every one of us become that highest light quotient, we then affect a field, because we live within a field. We are a field. Our field affects all other fields and all other cells and all other life and the trees and it affects everything. It affects the all. This is that micro macro experience. But they were saying that our oneness within ourselves and how we can see that reflection within our reality. Are we calling all that we in to accept and love and acknowledge all that we are? Or are we allowing what we see in our life right now, and this is why many are going through dark nights of the soul, if you will, because they're having to look at all those aspects of themselves that they held separate, and why we end up attracting those relationships to show us, well, where am I holding myself separate? Where did I not give myself the benefit of the doubt or believe in myself to speak my truth? In many dysfunctional, imbalanced relationships. So they're always mirroring energies that to either stand within a higher truth of who you are and to speak it and to live it and to be it, or what is within me that is showing me where I'm holding myself back from my true fullest source. What is it showing me? Is it showing me, well, I haven't valued myself because I'm allowing that person to treat me in this way, when really I'm like this. I choose to be this now, and I stand in my power. I claim my truth. And what is it reflecting for them on their part? And they can go in and do their own reflection if they want, but don't have to. Because that will show them, well, where have I held myself separate? Why did I not treat that person in my oneness, or said that comment that was so judgmental? That's separation. And that is ego driven, that's fear driven and control driven. And that limitation and separation, those are all the same energies. They're all the same energies, and it's fear. There's only two. There's only one, really. It's love. And when you have the absence of love, it becomes fear. The love of self and self-love and self-joy and self-bliss is why we're all here. It's our each individual journey. How we experience it, how we express it, how we explore it is different for each person, and it's meant to be, as we've said a number of times. So we can look at those concepts of the diversity of all that we are. We are truly diverse, and we're magnetic, dynamic beings of light and love and beauty and grace, and all these beautiful things. And how can we, again, even as we're talking, my body is clearing any energies that have been held in separation and comments or judgments about myself. Did I not give myself enough credit for what I did really well? Those are holding yourself at bay too. So remember that when you're doing your self-reflection and self-love, to align with bliss and peace and joy. And why we say that acknowledgement and self-love is so important, because it allows you to say, wow, I did that really well. So give yourself checkpoints throughout the day. Did I love myself, and did I really honor myself in what I did this morning? That was really great. I'm changing my breakfast habits. I'm going for a walk. I'm looking outside more. Those are really great, and I'm going to honor it. And that builds that self-love, that feeds your soul. You are that nourisher of your own soul. And my teams have often said for me, because I've been so hard, I've been such a hard worker and giving, that my teams have been saying the past 2 years, honor your light. What about you? You're giving so much that you forget, and you've gotten into a pattern of depleting yourself so bad that you've got nothing left. So where are your light reserves? When are you going to honor you? When are you going to make your path a priority? And that is that self-love. Am I taking time to truly love and honor myself, and really allow all that self-love and that nourishment to be felt and loved and to be received? I'm receiving this. The divine feminine, I'm so ready to receive what I'm worthy of. This is my soul destiny. I'm worthy to be blissful, and I'm worthy to be joyful. Make no mistake about that. That is my new life design. I will design joy and happiness and bliss and self-reflection and self-love and self-honor into as much of my day as I'm able. And every moment it will get better, and every day it will get better. This is my truth that I say to myself. These are my truths. I'm just giving you an example as me. It's what I say to myself in the mirror. And that's when all of you, within and without, become greater oneness. And so we'll give you an example that as we're expressing and experiencing what we are in our collective, if you will, the separation and the limitation that we've held with one another, and how it folds out into collective experiences. It comes from those inner experiences that we all vibrate and resonate without even knowing. When we're disparaging ourselves, when we are disrespecting ourselves in any way, whether it's through an experience of another or whether it's through our own experience, putting ourselves down, not loving ourselves, demeaning ourselves, all of those energetic experiences move into the collective field. Then in the vastness of separation, they have their bowling points and breaking points. And why it's so important for us, each and every one of us, to know that we affect the all. We affect the all. So take that with great profound honor and say, okay, right now it changes. Right now I'm sorting it out. Right now I choose to be the peace that I want to see. I want to be that inner bliss. I want to be that inner joy. No matter what, letting it go, now is new. New reality, new reality, new reality. Now is new. And so whatever it is that you're seeing and attracting for yourself, how can you know that greater oneness you're building within yourselves? You're building within the telomeres. You're building within all that you are as this reproductive mechanism of light and love and matter and spirit. And you're building it within its greatness. You're building it within its oneness. Your thoughts are one with who you are as a soul. Your feelings and your vibrations are one within your soul. Really getting connected with how you feel, because those feelings vibrate in your field. So if you're feeling less than, if you're feeling depleted, disparaged, those vibrations go out into the all. So how can you allow yourself to feel good? Again, our destiny and our purpose is to be unconditional love and bliss and joy for who we are. And walk and just say this, I'm going to give myself 10 minutes a day, and I'm just going to walk in love. And you you, whatever it is that you do it in love. I love who I am. This feels good. Today I will love myself no matter what. I'm loving myself. This feels really good. I'm changing the vibration of every cell. This feels good. I am love. I am love. And you become that essence. You become that flow. You become that gorgeousness of who you are. That's your destiny. To be as loving and blissful and joyful in who you are. And it requires that we transcend some of the separation that we've created for ourselves as a collective. We've all come with these imprints. We've all come with these experiences. So allow yourself to know that you are exactly where you're meant to be okay with where you are in your vibration, and know that every moment that you choose to love yourself and sort it out and say, it's not working for me anymore, I choose this now, I choose this now, I choose this now. You don't necessarily have to go into all the stories. It depends on the trauma, of course, because I understand, I've been through it. The depths of your traumas require greater work, if you will, because they're usually threaded and layered with many other timelines. We've talked about that previously as well, so you can tune into our other videos. And again, these will all be included in our healing systems. We're creating these healing systems for multidimensional healing at various levels. And it's done in a multidimensional way. So we're really excited about that. And the oneness that we hold within ourselves, I am one within my spirit, my soul, my body, my heart, and my mind. Because we're a multidimensional being. The purity of my heart, the purity of my mind, the purity of my body, spirit, and soul, I am one. I hold myself in oneness. I recognize my soul. I recognize my spirit. I recognize that I have the infinite essence of Source Creator within me. I am infinite. It's profound. It's mind-boggling. I have everything. The universal energies of the all are living through me. I can change anything. I got this. I got this. And today I'm sorting this out. Today I live as love. Today my purpose is joy. Today my purpose is bliss. And I will be blissful. Every sip of water I take will feed and nourish my body with love and joy. As my water is sitting here. And then allowing you to transcend what was. It's profound. It's really profound. And it gives you celebration. Deep celebration. We're so lucky. We're so lucky. I say that with honor. I say that with gratitude. With so much happiness right now. Because I can feel the happiness of who I am and who I've meant to be. It's been so long. It's been so long. And it calls all of my aspects in to be loved again. To be loved in this new wholeness. Because there were aspects that were just waiting for that self-recognition. I call those parts into me. I really want to feel myself as love. I know God's with me, Spirit's with me, the Creator, all the universe. All of creation is with me right now, and they're going to show me. And then you release all of those aspects that felt so separate and small or little or unrequired, not unique or not needed or valued. And you get to bring it in and you get to love it. Those are aspects of me that are so special. I'm special. I'm so special. And I'm so needed in this world. And as you do, your heart just grows. You can feel the expansiveness of your heart just grow. And just heal all those wounds and those veils that just kept you from other people, those connections. And that's what we truly need in this. This morning I woke up and I just spent 2 or 3 hours just creating. It's like I went to sleep not feeling like I felt right now. And this is why I've said so many times that we're doing so much healing and clearing. And you wake up and you just feel so different. And that's the work that we do at nighttime when we're being healed and we're in recalibration chambers and light shifts and our soul is off healing and traveling and working on the grids. It's just so blessed. What we really, truly are requiring and our hearts are aching for is our oneness. It's really our belonging, who we are as souls, calling those aspects in to say we're so special. We don't have to be a part of that 1%. We are threaded energetically. But as many of us are still living in that 3 to 4 to 5D shift, we've been led to believe that how we've defined ourselves within society, how we've judged each other through all of our societal frequencies, whether it be through religion, politics, they've all been systems of definition through various means of, control or subjugation in such a subtle level, such a subtle and profound, large level. And now it's all being rebalanced. And so as we do, we find that microcosm within ourselves and say, well, how was I devaluing myself and judging myself and defining myself in such low vibrational ways? And then you can look back at it with great respect and say, wow, all of those experiences that were held in the psyche at an emotional level, and why we say that feeling is so important. Allow yourself to feel those moments of when you felt separate, of when you felt limited, or when you felt devalued and not needed and not special. Allow yourself to feel it, because that's when you let it go and transmute it. And you can call yourself in and say, wow, that's so profound. All those times, as the little girl or the little boy that you just felt pushed aside, you honor it, call it in and say, wow, I'm so special. This life is so valuable, because that's when your heart grows. And this beautiful heart space heals every cell. It heals everything you see in your creative reality. And then you start creating with greater love and appreciation. That's how we create. And it's how we feel. You feel good about who you are. Do you feel joyful about who you are? Do you feel loving in who you are? And if not, you say, okay, why? Where's that wound? Bring it forward. I'm going to love you whole. I'm going to look at you and I'm going to love you whole, because I know you need me and I need you. And we're going to be such a powerful, powerful, magnificent team. That's so beautiful. Thank you. It's been such a profound journey. I'm so very blessed. So the team's message today, Heavenly Councils, thank you so much. They said, be at peace within your state of being, for you are infinite. You are infinite love and discovery of new love, and new realms, and new wisdoms, and new levels, and new perspectives of peace and joy. And so that's what they were showing me, that as you call this in, those winds and those perspectives, as you call it in, you allow yourself to expand. There's always going to be new levels. So be at peace with where you are. Just say, this is this now moment, the center of the crucible. And you open up into these new profound perspectives of joy and love and graciousness. It's truly amazing. I'm just going to just slip away for a second. I need to get some tissue. I usually have tissue here. It's too funny. So excited. Hey, just beautiful and rich. And that's what really, in most of my growing up, I always felt, changing my life story. I've been so lucky to experience what I've experienced. I'm changing the story, so I don't have to keep returning to that past that felt so sad and lonely. But that I ached for it. I ached for that intimate connection, and I've closed my heart chakra off for so many years now, because I felt so depleted of always giving and giving and giving and being hurt in return, not standing in my power, not standing in my truth, through many of the dysfunctions and the addictions and all of the wounds that I've come to heal for myself, so that I can teach at a collective level, and I can heal many of the timelines through the lineage and the Akash that I've come to do, because I know I can. I obviously don't know it when I'm in those moments of but after you release all that stuff, you feel, wow, I let that go, and it was really dead weight. profound. Mother Mary came to me the other day, and she said, when you acknowledge those moments, and why we've always said, wow, that's a big bird. It was flying right at me in this window. I've got a window right here, and that bird was flying. It looked like it was going to come right through the window, but it went right at the corner and went over. Mother Mary was saying that you're aware, and why we've always written about acknowledgement, you're aware of what you're releasing and why it feels so heavy and so dense, because you've carried it for eons, and that allows you to recognize that wisdom that's held within it. That's why acknowledgement is so powerful, because that acknowledgement allows you to receive the wisdom that's held within those releases. And what many are unaware of and why we're offering these multidimensional healing systems is that many people that feel depression and suppression and many of the mental imbalances that everybody moves through, many do not talk about it because of the societal judgments that we have about the misunderstanding about mental imbalances. They don't understand that within that experience, there's such wisdom and grace, and why so many suppress themselves and depress themselves and return to, pharmaceuticals, because they can't understand that inner experience of the soul growing. And there's no judgment either way. But as someone that's moved through many bouts of depression, as being creatively suppressed, as I've written about in many of my articles, that creative expression is so important to multidimensional balancing at every age, at every level. And it allows us to release the traumas and the false beliefs and the misunderstandings and the not knowings of who you are as a multidimensional, omnipresent being. Of course, there's obviously, as we've always said, we are multidimensional beings, infinite, omnipresent. So of course, there's multidimensional, experiences and expansiveness and knowings to that. It's not just this is a one fixed type of thing. And we've always offered that. Multidimensional healing is not a one-way fix all. It's just not, And this is the new understanding, and this is why there can't always be just a one prescription for any type of anything. And there shouldn't be. And we've also found that out with many things that have happened in our social collective, of many of the many stars that have passed on, anyways, we won't go there. But what we were saying is the value that's held in acknowledgement. It's really important. There's so much held in acknowledgement. There really, really is. And it allows you to expand. Acknowledgement, as love is, expansive. Allowance, you acknowledge, you allow, and you accept. Those are all expansive energies, and it allows you to say, wow, look what I did. That was awesome. And it just with the little things too, like when you're changing eating habits, that are patterns and addictives and all of those things that eating has become, because we've used it to heal the mental and emotional body. And they've been patterns, habitual patterns that we've created for ourselves, just like any, any outside source. It will never be resolved. We have to do it from the inside. It's the inside job that each of us have to move through, if we so choose. Again, it's always free will. So what they were saying was the value of that. Mother Mary was saying that you're understanding that density, that weight that you had been carrying was from many timelines, many belief systems you've had in the mental body. You're now releasing it. You don't need it anymore. I'm choosing to recognize it. I acknowledge it. I value the lessons that it's brought me, and I see why I've chosen the relationships I have with myself and with all others due to those beliefs. And I'm choosing to let it go now. I choose with every fiber of my being, and I'm asking for the highest heavenly help to assist me in transmuting this. And then that becomes a less of a factor in your now creating. And that's why acknowledgement is so key. It also helps you expand as a soul, because your soul understands everything at every level. So if we're just getting on with that quick fix experience, your soul is always going to be seeking, did you understand the lesson? I've had many experiences where I've been at that moment, okay, what's next? And they say, did you actually do your reflection and understand what you went through? It's really important that you do that, because this is a lifetime like no other. Did you honor and value and appreciate everything you've been through? It's still okay if you choose not to, because you have free will and your guides will always be okay with that. But there is such profundity within that acknowledgement, because I wouldn't be able to offer and teach and heal in the way that I do if I didn't, because I understand the difference. If I move through an experience without honoring, appreciating what I'm letting go, and it won't be fully transmuted. It won't, because there's something within there. We have to remember everything as the infinity. If there's something on this end of the deal that I'm saying I'm willing to let go, but I'm not valuing it at its fullest of what it's taught me, then this part of the end that I'm expanding into will not be as full as it could be. And I know that. Consciously, cognitively, logically, I understand that. This is why it takes the time that it does. And it's not one of those things you just rush through. It's not, you know. It can be. It's still an experience. It's still okay. There's no judgment. Again, it's all perfect. But you will feel the difference. And that's where we're moving to. The fifth dimensional is all about you're creating from your feeling. So if you want to feel those rich, truly rich connections, that truly rich depth of who you are as a soul, it's infinite. You can be infinitely rich in depth and width of all that you are as a being. And that's what I ache for. Throughout my whole childhood, I've ached for that. I've ached for those beautiful, expansive communications that I was very rarely hard to find. And then I had to hide myself, I thought, you know, and I just assumed through conformity that how I was not the way that everybody else was. And I conformed to so much, and I dimmed my light in so many ways. And I, you know, my teams had said to me the other day, I'd sacrificed my light, you know, because I wasn't allowing myself to be fully me. And that's part of the acknowledgement process. When you acknowledge you, you're allowing yourself to fully be you in your fullest capacity. You know, and that's, yeah, own who you are. Claim your divinity. Claim your light. Claim your power. Call it back and say, this is who I am, and I walk with Source, as my name is. You know what? I'm clearing again. See? It's infinite. So we're going to read their statement over again, and then we're going to pull a card. Be at peace within your state of being, for you are infinite love and discovery of new love, of new realms, new wisdoms, new levels, and new perspectives of peace and joy. There's always going to be a new inner moment of peace, a new inner moment of your destiny, a new inner moment of joy and bliss. And so be at peace with it. Right now, it's okay for me to be exactly where I am. That allowance and acceptance and acknowledgements opened you up for what can be. Not having to figure it all out, not having to analyze it, overanalyze it, that's ego. Especially in the times that we're in right now, because there's so many people that are, you know, feeling that fear and frustration. Okay, well, what next? Well, we don't have to know what next. We just have to be okay in this state of being right now. And right now is perfect. I choose to be perfect in this now moment, because right now is healing my all. I choose right now in this moment to create, you know, the bliss of all that I've come for. I create that now. I choose now. That was my paper. And so here are, I love these cards. Oh, we were just talking about that. So I'm going to pick two. And these are so key. And these are both our words. And it's so funny because we're in a retrograde right now. Retrograde is all about reevaluating, reflecting upon how are we holding things in repetition. And we see the moon cycles here, and we see the movement of the land, the movement of the species, and the movement in the cycle of life. The repetitions and the retrogrades allow us to review those shadow aspects. They call it shadow, and we redefine them as just the whole soul. You know, it doesn't have to get complicated. It doesn't have to get scary or dark. And just redefining it in the most positive, enlightened way that you can for yourself. Not having to be through the dark night of the soul. It doesn't have to be. Say, this is who I am. I'm going to call this aspect in of myself, and I'm going to allow it to show its face, because I value you're me. And that's when those fears don't become fear anymore. They don't become those, you know, the boogeyman's under the bed. You face them and you say, what are you showing me? What is it what's your story? And just face it. And allow it to become that revision of you that you're moving into, because as she's seeing this part of her that she hasn't called forward, she's repressed it because of conformity or social injustices or a psyche imprint. Anything that she's here to heal, this is where it sits. It's that density within all that we are, the physical, mental, emotional, etheric body, the fields that we exist within. She's bringing it forward. She's calling it forward from her divine sacred heart. I'm calling this forward. I use my voice and I use my truth. Who are you and what do you need to show me about who I am? I want to value my state of being right now. I'm going to come clear on this. I'm becoming clear. And it's these repetitions of patterns, the repetitions of synchronicities, the repetitions of our own thoughts and our own words that we speak to ourselves and how we behave within ourselves. And we call them forward and we say, what are you showing me? Come on, come out. It's like hide and seek. It's the eternal game of hide and seek. Okay, what am I hiding? Bring it forward and bring it out. Clear it up. Bring light to it. Because everything that we see without us is a part in our own reflection of what we're here to heal and make whole and make love. Making love to all that you are and saying, bring this in. I'm going to love you whole. You're a part of who I am. I'm no longer going to say you're not me. I'm no longer going to judge you and put you as separate. And then we become this revision. We're constantly in revision of who we think we are and we see ourselves to be in the water. And you see this, I always talk about vibrational threads. She's saying, in the reflection of who I am in this beautiful sacred water, who am I seeing myself as threaded? How am I threading myself? I get to choose. I get to choose my timeline. I get to choose my destiny. I get to choose how I perceive in reflection. So what is my vibrational thread and how can I revise it? Every new moment you get to revise the reflection of who you are so that you can create new repetitious energies that are filled with open-ended co-creative experiences. My team showed me a long time ago. Obviously, love is the essence of creation. It's how we evolve through love. That love opens our intelligence and our wisdoms and our multidimensional bodies and systems to receive all that we are as an omnipresent being. But we can choose to have that open-ended pattern because we've somehow defined patterns to be negative and to be stagnant. That's how it's been perceived. But we can choose to say my new pattern is love and it's infinite and it's eternal. And you can see the vibrational difference. When we're talking about patterns as far as egoic, it can feel heavy and dense. But you can choose in any moment to create that new vibrational meaning that feels differently and is different for you. And you just reattach it. It's like you're coding your own program. That mental body requires that you code and untrain a new program so that it serves you. And that's part of the entrainment program that we're working within. And how it creates that revision. The whole reality has revised itself. And every morning you wake up and say, wow, I've just clicked into 100 different synchronicities this morning. Thank you so much, Spirit. That's me. That's you coming to life within your own Merkaba, within your light body, within the omnipresent fields. You're revising it through those vibrational threads that you get to choose. And those vibrational threads are all that you're experiencing within the all, within and without, macro, micro. And we're going to take one final card from here. I don't want these videos to be too long. Thank you for joining us. Thank you. How's everybody doing? Everybody's good. Good. Sending out love and prayers for all of humanity. We love you so much. We understand your human experience and we're so very grateful for you and we're grateful for your light, who you are as a being of light, who you are as a source child, your sacredness and your value and your importance. Don't ever forget your importance. We love you. Thank you. It's one of my favorite decks by Alana Fairchild. I love her decks. We call upon the spirit of the holy heavens and the light, all light programs. We thank you so much for allowing us to be here today. And we've all called in Lord Michael, as you know. We call in the sacred teams and the sacred beings of our holy light frequencies and the light programs that we're all threaded and connected with and without. So that those that receive the highest frequencies of love and light and activations in their codes always will do so in their highest and in their best for them, their greatest good of their highest healing teams and their soul teams and their soul direction. And we thank you, the angels, the angelics, and the frequencies of the Elohim and the creator gods and goddesses. We thank you, goddesses, and we thank you, Archangel Michael, the beloved Mother Mary and the Divine and Holy Mother and the Holy Father creators. Thank you to our omnipresence that we are all threaded within as we all open our hearts to become new in our wholly balanced human collective experience, to be balanced, to be harmonious in our oneness, to be harmonious in our allness. And we thank you so much. In our divine co-creator, we bless the home that we live upon, Gaia. Thank you, Gaia, for all the elementals and all the creator gods with us. Thank you. I love that one. I get that one often because I'm a visionary. Thank you, holy teams. So at the bottom, I wanted to show you this because all that we've been talking about today was how we create new spirals of manifestation. And those are the threads that we co-create in this moment of now. What's my destiny? My passion is to live purely as joy and bliss. Well, how do I get there? Let's start connecting with everything that unfolds that's not bliss and sort it out. And bring it like this, and we see the synchronicities within these cards already, don't we? And then we see the owls and the wisdoms and shining our truth of who we are as the divine peacock, allowing ourselves to shine. The sacred geometry that the owl carries within the sacredness of all life, and the beauty of the Holy Mother and the Holy Father found within our Son and all things and all life. Visions beyond death. Visions of life beyond death. And so this is a sacred shaman that is moving within the third eye, the inner soul experience. And the story that's coming forward to me is what we were talking about earlier about the the expression of who we have forgotten ourselves to be. And we're going to look back at this card here. These are aspects of who we've forgotten that we're calling in to be unified and loved. And those aspects that we've forgotten ourselves are symbolic in these animal creatures here that are requiring our acknowledgement that we are connected to. This is, as they're saying to me, no different than our ancestors and our lineage, whether it be our mothers or fathers or grandfathers and so on, whether it be our celestial families, Pleiadians, Sirian, Arcturians, Tacarians, Cassiopeans, Lyrians, Andromedans, Orions, all of our universal omnipresent families that we're all linked and connected to vibrationally. We are each connected within the oversoul family, and each dot is a vibrational oversoul. And these oversouls assist us, and they thread us light, they thread us information, they thread us wisdom. And these are aspects within our self, within our soul self, that we've come here on this planet to say, I'm going to call this aspect of me and those soul fragments, those aspects of me that I want to now recognize. I'm recognizing myself that I'm ready to shine. I'm recognizing myself that I do have wisdom. I'm recognizing myself that I have wisdoms beyond this world, that I can see into the unseen, and it is real for me. And I'm going to own that. And these are the visions of life beyond death, because these are all aspects of life that will always be life. There's never no life. It's always just a cycle of new becoming. It's a cycle of new remembrance, a cycle of new recognition, new reunifying. The destiny and the passions of who we are, and remembrance and unification of who we are. And so it's constant cycles. And this is where we can see that it's beyond what we understand that death is, because it's all in our consciousness. It's all in our consciousness experience. We're never separate. And even those experiences where you think, where you're separating, or when we've gone through traumatic loss or loss of a loved one, we define it through our human experience, and how our definitions have kept us so limited and so stuck, in emotional pains, is because we haven't defined every experience as a cycle of beauty and bliss and joy. That every soul has their destined path. Every soul has their destined, beautiful experience that we're here to honor and encourage and accept, and, wish into the well wishes of their own godliness and creatorhood, regardless of what their path looks like to us. And that's why we're releasing judgment. Okay, well, how have I defined death, and how has it kept me separate from living my fullest life? Because it's all one. It's just a varied perspective of what our belief systems are at that time, or our awareness or our acknowledgement of who we are as spirit. Because if you understand your spirit and you're all with the one, it's all life. It's just a varying perspective of new becoming. And so how do we see beyond? How do we see into the eternal life that we always are? We are eternal life. These aspects that we've hidden away is eternal life. But it's been through our wounding and our perspectives of limitation that have held us separate from our own selves. And that's why we see what we see in the reality experience. And we see that after the storm, there is great grace, and there's a clearing out, if you will, that after the dust settles, we understand why we went through what we went through. It had to be. It just had to be. And why we release experiences that no longer serve, because down the road, we will see why it served us to let it go, and why it was paramount we didn't need to let it go, so that you can give space between what we thought was death and what we thought was a separation, for its space to grow, for its space to eternalize into a new becoming, to give it space to evolve, to give it space to become new. And why we can look at the ideas of letting go in a little bit more of an easier way if we allow it to see it's all life, it's all becoming. Give yourself space to become something new. Give yourself space to evolve. That's the most loving thing that you can do in an experience, no matter how hard it seems or whatever the experience might be unfolding, the minutia of the experience, because it's all perspective. You can rise above and see it from that higher self perspective and say, I choose to see this as a beautiful blessing that we're both allowing each other to evolve into new life. We're becoming new. And so it must be let go to evolve in the most natural, highest state that it can be. Otherwise, it becomes, those dependent, codependent threads and combinations that just continue and perpetuate those combinations. It's not becoming new life. It just becomes more threaded and gunk. It just keeps getting messy. And that's how it feels. And there's never ever any answers. It spins around in non-evolving state of confusion and density because it's not being allowed to be released, because that's what the universe was asking. Release it, let it go, and it will become new. What are you hanging on to? Why were you hanging on to it? What belief do you hold? Because after the storm, you're going to see why things needed to occur the way they did. Because you're going to come to a higher truth and say, wow, when I let that go, wow, it just felt great. And I'm not responsible. I'm not the one that has to fix that. I'm not the one that has to fix anything. I'm going to allow myself to be here and present and now and blissful and joyful now. And I honor the best of all that experience was. And I release it. And then that gets to be created anew. And then you get to see the divine perfection and how everything works out in the highest and the best, the way that it was supposed to, because we don't have any control of anything unfolding. We're not meant to. We're becoming higher vibrational beings, and that's meant through allowance and through forgiveness and through acceptance, that we each have this beautiful path to walk, and it's fluid and allowing and sovereign, sovereign, creatively sovereign, joyfully sovereign, blissfully sovereign. We're not dependent and reliant upon anyone to do anything for us or make it of us. We become that full sovereign being. And as you can see, I'm doing lots of clearing because sovereignty is so important to my soul, that I acknowledge my sovereignty and I claim my sovereignty and I say I'm meant to be free and I'm meant to soar, and I will as I claim it, and so it is. Thank you so much, dear lighted ones, and we wish you the most loving and blessing well wishes and divine sacredness for who you are as a unique, diverse being of holy light. You are a dynamic being of holy light. We wish you the best. We wish you greatest healing and honor of who you are as spirit, as source. Honor your oneness with source within, and never underestimate your partnership with source. With breath and foot, you are oneness and source, and you are a magnificent being of light. We honor you. Thank you. Namaste.